You know that feeling. Just completely swamped by all the advice on eating healthy.
Oh, definitely. So many rules, it's hard to know where to even start sometimes.
Exactly. Like, what's for dinner tonight? That alone feels like a huge task,
It really can. You just feel kind of lost in all the noise.
which is why we're doing this deep
Mhm.
dive. We've got your sources here, all looking at healthy meal planning and surprisingly easy recipes.
Hmm.
And our goal, cut through it all, unpack this stuff, and pull out the really useful, actionable bits so you can feel, informed and ready without the overwhelm.
Yeah, we'll dig into why meal planning actually works, according to these sources, what makes a meal healthy or balanced.
Right.
Look at some key ingredients, what they do for you, and then, yeah, lots of practical, easy ideas from the recipes you sent over.
Okay, let's get into it. First up, why even bother with meal planning? Your sources lay out some pretty solid reasons.
They really do. Source one and two, they both really hit hard on saving time and money. That's a big one.
Makes sense.
Mhm.
Last minute, what do we eat? Chaos.
Exactly. Which usually means less expensive takeout or those impulse grabs at the supermarket.
And source two mentions less food waste too, which, links back to saving money. You buy what you need, you use what you buy.
Right. No more forgotten spinach turning into slime. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Ah.
And crucially, it seems like planning helps you actually make healthier choices
Hmm.
more often.
Yeah, source two really emphasizes that. It helps you stay on track with your nutrition goals because you're not just grabbing whatever's fast and easy when you're starving.
Right.
And source one kind of sums it up nicely. It just makes healthy eating easier, fundamentally.
I like that source two pointed out this doesn't mean like dedicating your whole Sunday to cooking or becoming a master chef.
Yeah, that's so important. It doesn't have to be this huge, complicated thing.
It's more about finding a simple system that clicks for you, right?
Right.
Not adding more stress.
Precisely.
Okay, so planning helps, but planning what? What do these sources actually mean by a healthy or balanced meal?
Well, they generally agree on the basics. Source 2 talks about a diet that's rich in whole grains, fruits, veggies, lean proteins, and those healthy fats. It's the overall picture.
And not just the food groups, but how they fit together. Source 2 mentions balancing macronutrients.
Yeah, that's protein, fiber, complex carbs, and a bit of healthy fat, aiming for that mix in meals and even snacks.
Okay. Now, Source 2 does give some example calorie numbers, like maybe 300 to 600 calories for a meal.
It does, but it's really key to remember those are just examples, illustrations.
Right.
Your own needs can be totally different depending on, activity, age, metabolism, all that stuff. So don't get hung up on the numbers themselves. It's more about the balance principle.
Gotcha. And Source 2 had that super practical visual, the plate division thing for dinner.
Oh, yeah, the quarter plate idea. It's simple.
Explain that one.
Okay, so picture your dinner plate. Divide it into 4 quarters. One quarter gets your protein, maybe chicken, fish, beans, whatever.
Okay.
Another quarter is for a complex carb like brown rice, quinoa, maybe sweet potato, right? And then the other 2 quarters, so half the plate, that's for non-starchy vegetables. Think broccoli, salad greens, peppers, green beans, loaded up.
Ah, okay. So half the plate is veggies. That's a clear visual.
Yeah, it's a really simple way to think about balance without needing like a spreadsheet.
That totally makes sense.
Right.
And it leads us nicely into the actual ingredients, the building blocks. Your sources have recipes that use a lot of common stuff.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some examples from Source 1 and others, and the benefits they mention.
Sure. So thinking about that carb and fiber quarter, source one talks about oats. Great for breakfast, but they have that beta glucan fiber.
Right, the cholesterol thing.
Yeah, linked to potentially lowering cholesterol and heart disease risk. And potatoes, too. Source 10 calls them nutritious potassium, magnesium, vitamins.
Good base. And what about things like lentils or chickpeas? They pop up a lot.
Definitely. Source 18 links lentils to lower diabetes and heart disease risk because of certain compounds, and chickpeas. Source 15 mentions they're great for plant-based protein and fiber and might help with blood sugar. You see them in curries, salads.
Versatile stuff. Okay, healthy fats. Avocados seem popular.
Yep, source 1 notes they're filling, good source of healthy fats. And source 8 adds a cool point. Those fats actually help you absorb nutrients like vitamin A from other foods, like sweet potatoes.
Oh, interesting synergy there. And olive oil, of course.
Of course. Source 6 highlights those heart-healthy monounsaturated fats, great for dressings, cooking.
Okay, protein quarter. Eggs get a mention in Source 1.
Yeah, fantastic source of protein, vitamins, minerals, Very versatile.
And for meat eaters.
Well, Source 12 mentions pork having selenium, good for thyroid function. Beef comes up in stir fries. Tacos, Source 14 and 15 note it's packed with iron for oxygen transport and B12 for red blood cells.
Important stuff. Turkey, too.
Yeah, Source 19 lists protein, iron, zinc, B vitamins for turkey. Lots of benefits there.
And we can't forget dairy, or dairy-like things. Yogurt.
Right, Source 1 and 13 mention plain or Greek yogurt. Good for calcium, as Source 2 notes for bone health, and Greek adds that protein boost.
Okay, now the big one, that half plate of veggies.
Crucial. Source 9 just gives the overall thumbs up. Veggies linked to lower disease risk, living longer. Simple as that.
And specific examples, like bell peppers.
Source 4 mentions they're great for immune support, vitamins A and C, but Source 1 adds a useful tip. Cook them quickly to keep more of that vitamin C.
Good tip. Tomatoes come up a lot, too.
Yeah, Source 11 talks about lycopene, that antioxidant good for heart health. And Source 17 links tomatoes and their compounds to reduced risk of some chronic issues. Onions, too. Source 20 mentions quercetin, an anti-inflammatory that might help with blood pressure.
Wow, okay. It's actually pretty amazing how much goodness is packed into these everyday foods.
It really is. It's not always about finding some obscure superfood. It's often the basics, used well.
Absolutely. And seeing these ingredients helps make sense of the practical tips and recipe ideas in the sources.
Exactly, like how Source 2 breaks down the day.
Right, walk us through that rhythm.
Okay, so breakfast. Aim for protein and fiber to get you going.
Wow.
Mid-morning snack. Optional. Keep it light if you need something before lunch.
Makes sense.
Lunch. Great time for leftovers or something easy to pack like a sandwich or a salad bowl. Mid-afternoon snack, again, totally optional, but if you have one, think protein, healthy fat, fiber to bridge the gap to dinner.
Hey, dinner.
Dinner can be simple. Use that plate division idea we talked about. Prepping some stuff ahead, having containers ready, that helps a lot.
Right. Any evening snack advice?
Yeah, Source 2 suggests maybe a complex carb could help with sleep, but definitely steer clear of sugary stuff right before bed.
Good to know. Now, Source 1 had that huge list, like 28 ideas, showing how easy and healthy meals can be using these ingredients.
Yeah, tons of examples. We don't need to list all 28, but maybe highlight some types.
Good idea. Like, for breakfast, what kind of things fit that easy, healthy mold?
Well, you've got the quick